So let's introduce our esteemed guests. You guys all know them. First, say hello to Eugene Jarvis. Yes, it is. And of course, Mr. Gary.
God of Design.
God of Design.
He's my hero.
We got the God of Design, and we got the God of Pinball. How about that? Mr. Gary Stern is here as well. All right, this is going to be a very easy panel for me. I'm basically here to just traffic cop. We will get to a lot of your questions. I'm sure you have a lot of questions for these gentlemen as well. I'll be walking around with the microphone a little bit later on, but let's just start with hearing some of the projects, old and new. I mean, when I think of your name, sir, I think Defender, I think Cruisin' USA. These are games that I grew up on. Why don't you just talk about some of the highlights, some of the projects that you've been really proud of throughout the years, and some of the stuff you're working on right now.
Wow. Okay.
That might be an hour panel in itself.
Yeah. No. I guess I was a pinball guy when I started out. I loved playing pinball and. I had to pay for my pinball, not like Gary Stern, who used to play for free, but
I did. I did.
But I still do. But I would hang out at this place called Johnny's Smoke Shop, which was the one place in town that my parents said, don't ever fucking go there. You know, it's like, I'm like, cool, where is that? Where's that place? And it was kind of in the back room. They had great candy. They had magazines in brown paper bags under the counter. They had cigars and stuff, and there was a back room where there was a pinball machine. And I fell in love with pinball, and it was one of those old electromechanical games, and actually we figured out how the match worked, and so you kind of get some lights in your score and everything, and you could tilt your third ball at the right spot, you got a free game. So you kind of play forever, so I love that.
I don't like that.
So the problem with those damn pins, they just don't make any money, Gary. You know,
Not when you play.
Not when you find a cheat.
Yeah. Some guy challenged him. We're all over the place. Some guy challenged Eugene to Big Buck Hunter in Shorty's in Seattle. So I was your second. I held your coat.
Yeah.
Wow, great.
I kicked his ass.
Of course you did.
He barely won.
You might have had an advantage.
I kind of kicked him while I was aiming a little bit. So, but anyway, so back to college and everything. Got into this thing. There was this new thing called the microprocessor, and so that was this huge revolution. I remember going to this thing called the Homebrew Computer Club, and I was into these microprocessors, and there was this couple hippie kids that were showing this thing called the Apple I, and I was going, man, this is a piece of crap. It's never going to go anywhere. I mean, what can you do with a computer? I mean, besides play games, you know? I mean, you're gonna have a computer in your house, balance your checkbook or something? I mean, I don't know. Anyway.
One thing led to another.
One thing led to
computers
another.
in our pockets.
That's right. You got an arcade in your pocket, and who needs a fucking arcade machine?
What are some of the titles you're most proud of?
Really, Defender.
Yes,
That was
great.
My first big game, and it was so hard to do that first game because, I mean, when you're doing pinball, no matter how bad you program something, no matter how horrible the theme or the license,
I don't think I'm gonna like this.
At the end of the day, it's still a pinball machine. You know, it's got flippers and a ball, and it's cool. You know, you can study the physics, and it's fun. You know, there's a basic fun there, no matter how bad.
It's a ball and bat game.
No matter
with real action, it's not all programmed.
I mean, exactly, and no matter how management costs reduce everything, at the end of the day, as long as you have two flippers and a ball, it's cool. And but in a video game, you start with a blank screen. So I mean, there is no limit to how crappy you can make a video game. I mean,
he's right in the sense that everything he does, although there's genres, he's driving game, but he takes a big risk because it could be absolutely horrible. I mean, I made some, my father made some, where you made 300 games as samples and got 400 back. But we, unless we really foul up, we have a good game, but we have a game, and then we can make it a lot better with the rules, the physics, the title, everything else. But he has more risk. There's no question.
Yeah. And certainly I've shown some good ones and also some of the worst games ever invented. But Defender, the cool thing, I guess, in that time phase, Space Invaders was coming out, Asteroids, and it was all of a sudden like, this is cool, because before then it was like Pong and Breakout was a decent game, but there was a lot of like really crappy video games. I mean, it was just horrible, and so they were terrible. But with this whole microprocessor, we kind of stole the pinball thing. You get like 3 lives, and you play as long as you can, and when your 3 lives are done, you're done unless you get an extra man, not ball. It was just a really exciting time, and I kind of, Defender is really half, the left hand plays Space Invaders and the right hand plays Asteroids.
Yeah.
And he kind of just, if you steal enough things and put them together, it's called an original game.
It sounds like the Wild West of creating video games back in the day. We'll get to some other titles from you because there's so many in your catalog. But Mr. Stern, we got to talk to you. You've been around pinball for maybe a couple years. At best.
70.
Yeah.
70.
So the evolution, even when we walk through the floor here at the Gaming Classic, we see decades worth, the history of pinball unfolding in front of us. Like, take us through, the evolution of the game of pinball through your lens.
Wow. I started out totally different in that my father made pinball machines. My father started as a game operator. Then he became a game distributor, and as a 35-year-old punk kid, some of you have heard this, he came to Chicago from Philadelphia where we lived. I was 2, sat behind Harry Williams' desk, kidding around, put his feet up, said, why don't you sell me the company? So Harry went up, flew around for Chicago for 3 hours, came down and sold my father half the company. I didn't start in the back room playing pinball. I started at the factory. I'd go in on Saturdays, and while he was working and I was playing, I did wonderful things like mix up all the switchblades from the different kind.